expats, welcome back to my channel. I continue today with my lifestyle series, and I'm so excited to have Serrita Parker here with me. She lives in Puerto Vallarta, and she's going to let us know like how long she's been there, her journey, why Puerto Vallarta. And again, as I've said in my other episodes, the purpose of this is to basically give insight from other Blacks' perspectives and insight on why we moved, how it's going for us, why it's not something to be afraid of. And we hope that you'll find some inspiration in all of these different stories and everyone's unique journey to Mexico with a lot of like-mindedness in terms of, why Mexico. So in saying all of that, let me introduce Serrita and I'll let you take over from here. Welcome to my channel.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
You're welcome.
I am, if I talk about my Mexico story, it's magical is the first word I would say, unexpected, and unfolding. I have been here been back for 1 month and 1 week. Okay. The first time I came to Puerto Vallarta was in March, and I was coming to a retreat. And 2 weeks before the retreat started, it was canceled. And internally, I started melting down, like, what do I do? Now I got all of my money back, but I still had these tickets. And I started hearing, first I was going to cancel. Go. You're going to go, and you're going to stay as long as this money will allow you to stay. So that was 6 weeks.
Beautiful.
I had, prior to that, stop me when I'm kind of going, so.
No, that's okay.
It's okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, prior to that, I had been on the Caribbean coast, like the Cancun, the Tulum, Cozumel, Playa del Carmen. That's my side of Mexico. I had never imagined or seen myself here. As the plane was landing, I started praying, and I've never done that on a plane. It's like something inside of me shifted, and I was like, wow, this is different. Like I've never had that experience before. And as I got here, it was like my soul said yes. Nice. And it was like, oh, I'm moving here. Now, I am a 25-year government employee. I've always worked public service. I'm in finance, and I love what I do. But on the other side of me, I'm in the healing arts, and I also love that. And what happened was my soul opened up and started like saying, I've always wanted to do it full time, but I've always worked and, done the juggling and the struggling. What being here allowed me to do is just be peaceful and be present in that 6-week period to know that I can do anything I set my mind to. Beautiful. So I went back home and it felt as if something was missing, like something was missing. And then I just decided, you know what? I'm going to bet on me. I'm going to bet on me. And I came back. So I've been back for a month and a week. I found an opportunity where I will be providing services out of the Mystic Circle Cafe. And I always said one of my dilemmas at home was I just want to show up and do the work. The business side of it, I don't care anything about that. I want to show up and do the work. I want to be in service. And this opportunity allows me to be in service at this point. I'm sure as I grow, things will change, because if I'm betting the bank, this is it. I'm working full time now as a spiritual life coach and healer. I will grow in that. Right. But right now I am here. I am offering myself an opportunity to explore life outside of what I know. Right. And one of the things I know is the standard paycheck every 2 weeks, and breaking that cycle, I realized it's a whole mind screw to break the cycle, to know that I can create whatever I want. And the universe will provide me with everything I need. Just being able to just come to that. Sometimes I'm having a whole bunch of WTF moments. Like, are you sure you know what you're doing? Are you sure? You sure? You sure?
You will, because you're conditioned. We're conditioned to this is success. This is how
That's
you
right.
make it. This is
That's right.
what defines you, is this check every whatever. Don't get me wrong, I don't want to sound like that's a bad thing. It's not a
Exactly.
bad thing. It's just we fall quickly and easily into this very conditioned mindset and very conditioned way of living, where we don't come out of ourselves and our comfort zone, because it is a comfort zone, to explore something else that might be a risk, a fair, but the result of that other thing is so much more rewarding than the 9 to 5, if it's not something you love. And let's just face it, most people hate their jobs, right?
That's
Most
very
people
true.
just do the job because that's what
It's
they
paying
got.
me.
Yeah, or it's safe. It's a safe
Or
zone.
it's safe.
So
Yeah.
I totally respect that. I don't want to like act like, whatever. I totally respect that. But I do think there's a lot more to be said for when you come outside of your comfort zone and you go for something else. So I always say to younger people, because had someone said to me when I was 20 something, early something in my 20s, listen, while you don't have money, pursue these things, because if the struggle is now, you won't be struggling later, because you're going to be doing what you really want to do. That's not the advice that we get normally. It's sort of like, go to school, go to college, you figure out, what you want, got to get your 4-year degree, do this, and then get your job and do whatever. I think that that's changed, where the younger generation is starting to do a lot of the traveling and, finding things that are offline, not in a job situation. But I think, for me, I know that in the 80s, that was the thing, get a job, like go get a job in a corporate office. I worked for an insurance company for like 5 years and I hated every job I had. I learned a lot, but I didn't like it. I did not like it. And I got my, like 20 something year old worrying about 401ks, which is not a bad thing. But my point is that I did not pursue what I really wanted to do. And I think that that's what we're kind of touching on here.
Exactly. So, yes.
Yes.
And I understand it. And one of the other lessons, very important lessons that I learned as I was observing what was going on around me by being here, is the importance of work-life balance. Since I've been here, I know what that is. And I noticed the difference in between my going back home, because I immediately went back into this. And I was like, wait a minute. Here it is, it's just different. The level of just beingness with myself, just taking time to be still and be present, just to pay attention to what's going on around me is amazing. And I know a lot of times at home, at home for me is Maryland, the DMV area. It is very fast paced and very go. And I can do that well, but I can do this well, and I want to do this well. And this is something that, being here is something that I am, I feel like I'm showing my daughter what following your dreams look like, what taking a chance on yourself.
Right.
I am doing something that people who know me would never expect me to. Like, so many people are intrigued by, you're doing what? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm just living. And if I say I'm living and I'm sharing parts of my story, because I want someone who can identify with my story to know that you too can do this.
Exactly.
But it's just, as it unfolds, it's amazing. That's just summing it up. I'm taking it day by day, but it's really amazing as it unfolds.
I love it. I love it. So tell me kind of like with the retreat. So what was your, I know you kind of made that move to here because the retreat was canceled, but what made you prompted you to go to do the retreat portion?
I had followed someone that was here, and of course, I resonated with her and what she was doing. And life happens, and for whatever reason, it wasn't able to go on. But what I now understand is, I feel like sometimes the universe uses things to get us in a place where we're supposed to be, where otherwise, I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't have come here. I would have kept going to Cancun. I would have kept going to, Playa, to Tulum, because that's where I loved it there. Coming here was for a different purpose, and she was used as a conduit to get me here.
I love it.
And when her job was done, it was done. And I realized that very quickly, the way that things were unfolding, because, I had asked for something from the universe. I journal a lot. Actually, listen, my journal is sitting right here beside me. I believe in affirmations, manifestation, all of that. I write it down, and I'm a pretty serious manifester.
I love
and I asked the universe for something, and just say this: imagine asking the universe for that thing that you desire. Imagine getting it just the way that you ask. Life unfolds beautifully, but imagine you're questioning that thing that you asked for, because fear comes in and starts to, do what it does. It starts to those, self-limiting doubts and fears, and all of that stuff just fills you up. So you try to give it back. I started searching for reasons why I couldn't align for what I asked for, when this is what I asked for. This is what I asked the universe for. And it has unfolded perfectly. Exactly. And I am thankful for the retreat. I'm thankful for me aligning with the sister that I resonated with, and it, because it got me here. And then when I got here, that's when, to me, that's when the beauty and the magic started unfolding. I want you to see how beautiful your life can be. I want you to see that you can do whatever you want. You can shift from this way of thinking into a new way of being, because that's all it's about, is a way of being. You can choose your ways of being. And I am shifting.
I hear you. So that's so beautiful. It really is. I'm just smiling and all that light behind you. It's just perfect. So when you went back home after your trip, like, what was it that kind of just like, okay, I mean, had you had thoughts previously of moving abroad, or was it just, you just felt like, I this is what I need to do for me right now?
I always wanted to move abroad. I just never saw how it could happen, because I generally in my life, I'm a very structured. I need routine. I need order. I'm a Virgo, so I need stuff the standard.
Right.
For me, I never really saw how this could happen. And when I got home, it's like, I remember asking one of my friends, has your life ever been perfect? Like nothing's wrong, but you feel like something is missing and you can't put your finger on, like, nothing is wrong with me. I'm happy. I said, I feel happy and I feel like something is missing at the same time. And I couldn't quite balance it out. And the balance was, my soul was being pulled here, and it was time for me to change, and it was time for me to make a decision. And I had imagined when I retired from my job that I would move when I was a little older, maybe 10 more years from now. Now wasn't when I planned for this to happen. But it was something greater in store that I just didn't know. I just could not, it's like I couldn't get settled. And I was calm and unsettled at the same time. And even saying that, it still doesn't make sense. but because I experienced it, I understand what I'm talking about.
Right. It was something that just was very internal and probably very
Yes,
necessary. And you didn't
yes,
realize it. Like sometimes I think, you get so used to things that the routine becomes above what you think is
exactly.
going on inside of you, whatever, and you just, whatever. So I think that this was that breakthrough for
Yes,
you that allowed you
yeah,
to get here and be like, wait a minute, you know what? Let me
exactly.
pause that for a second and let me see what this is that I'm feeling. So that's beautiful. So did you just kind of go home and say, I quit?
Not yet. So what I did was I was honest with my job. I've been working from home for what, about a year and a half now.
Mhm,
And I got in my mind that as long as I'm doing my job, I can work. I should be able to work from anywhere.
mhm,
And so I asked. The first time I asked, I was denied.
mhm.
I was like, okay, what am I gonna do? And then I said, I'm gonna resign. And like I was ready to risk it all. And
Right,
then something happened and I was assigned a new manager.
nice.
And she said, do you have any questions? By the way, I do. And I was honest with her. I told her that I had worked here previously for 6 weeks, um, that I was desiring to come back because it was my desire to work in the healing arts full time. And I needed to explore this so that I could see if this was my yes, this is what I wanted for me.
Mhm.
And she said yes.
Oh,
And then
wow.
she asked me how long. And I pushed the limit. I was like, well, September. And she was like, absolutely not. And I was okay with that because, it was, unusual because that this is not something typically that
Mhm,
they do. So I counted it all joy and as a blessing.
mhm,
So I was able to come back for 2 months,
mhm.
and my 2 months is winding down. I have 3 weeks left.
Okay,
Um, I have decided that I am staying in Puerto Vallarta. I have my temporary residency.
good for
And
you.
today I just signed a lease for a year.
Yay.
So,
That is so cool.
so
I love it. Oh my gosh.
life is going to be different, but I'm here for it all. I'm ready.
Good for you. So have you spoken to them or are you going to go back?
I'm going back. In
Okay.
3 weeks, I'm going back, and
Mhm.
I'll be working until November, just because I am really dedicated. So I'll be back November the 1st, and back in Vallarta. But I'm closing out my 25-year career, so I got to do
Wow.
it. I got to
Well,
do it right.
congratulations to you. This is so
Yes.
awesome. I absolutely love your
Yeah.
journey so far. And I think that, having that extra time to kind of figure it out was a blessing. It's still a
Yeah.
blessing, even if
Yeah.
they weren't going along with it. But it gave you that insight to say, you know what? Yeah, I definitely want to do this. Or
I want to
maybe
do
I'll go
this.
back and extend my time there in the US a little bit longer. I love that. I absolutely think that's a beautiful thing. So tell me how you kind of actually, before this opportunity here with the healing and things like that, how did you initially kind of get into that? Was it something you always wanted to do? Did you do a little bit in the US, or is it something you just always wanted to do? You learned about it and now you're pursuing?
Well, it's something that I actually do in the US. I own and operate a company called I Am Goddess Coaching.
Oh,
And I
okay.
teach women the power of I am, and, help them to rekindle the love affair they have with themselves.
Love it.
So I love, 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 love this work. Um, and I've wanted to do it full time, but it's the fear, like fear. It's like I've been in relationship with fear a long time, and I've had to learn how to divorce it so that I can move on and I can thrive.
Mhm,
So I do spiritual life coaching.
mhm,
I actually graduated from Inner Visions Institute for Spiritual Development under the direction of Ayanla Van Zant.
mhm.
I graduated last year, and
Okay.
I am one of the coaches that has come from her program. and I'm a Reiki master since about 2018. And
Okay.
I just was certified in Kundalini. So I'm Kundalini Reiki. So I love, I love working in the healing arts, and I work at home. I see clients, and the ironic thing is my business had picked up, and it was really, really doing well. So
Okay.
it's like, okay, life, I see you. I see you.
I love that. I love that. So what's the difference between Reiki and then the other Reiki? I didn't get what was
um, Usui is
it?
the Kundalini Reiki deals with like the earth's energy.
Mhm,
All of it's dealing with the universal life force energy.
mhm,
Everything, just a little quick, brief, quick and dirty.
mhm.
Everything is energy. And
Right.
what I do basically is I'm a conduit for basically I facilitate a session, and I um, I help to unblock like any like stress and
Mhm,
pressure and things that are going on. So
mhm,
it's a really relaxing way. It can be hands on and hands off
mhm.
for you. It's a relaxing way for you to just return back to balance.
Okay.
And it's and Usui is the original form that was started. And there are other methods, but those are the two that I do.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I've heard of Reiki. I
Mm-hmm.
had a Reiki session like years ago when I was in Ecuador, and that part of Ecuador was known for its energy and very kind of connections to nature and things like that. But at the time, I was kind of young, and I was just kind of like, why aren't they touching me?
Yeah,
Because it
yeah.
was the whole, I didn't
Yeah.
understand it
Mm-hmm.
initially, and so I never tried it again. But I remember I enjoyed it enough
Mm-hmm.
because it was a first, like kind of, I never understood the whole thing behind it, but I truly now at this point in life believe in energy and the
Yes.
positive things that are out there. So that's something that if you are in my neck of the woods or vice versa, I'm
Yes.
definitely going to sign up with you. I think
Yes.
that that's very, something I would like to know more about. So tell me how you made the connection with the cafe.
That's funny. I was sitting here one day and I was like, I know that, okay, what I knew was that there are a lot of spiritual people here.
Mhm,
I didn't know how they connected. So I started researching for events, and I
mhm,
was like, it has to be something here.
mhm,
So I researched everything. So online, I just so happened to I researched Reiki,
mhm,
and I just so happened to see this place called the Mystic Circle Cafe, and I read about it, and I was like, oh, they have massage therapists, and they have readers, and they have
mhm.
they have a Reiki master, and the thing that kind of was different was it's a cafe, but it's also a spiritual awareness center.
Right,
So in
right,
my mind, I'm like, how does that work exactly?
right.
So I sent an email to the cafe introducing myself and
Mhm,
telling them, who I was, just a little bit about myself, and just asked if it was okay if I came in and talked to them.
mhm.
And so when I went in, I came out one of the practitioners.
Oh my gosh,
I
that's so
walked in and I came out one of the practitioners for the cafe. And it was like, so I felt like, oh, yeah, alignment.
no, right. No, I
Yeah.
love that. I love that.
Uh-huh.
I think it's such a beautiful thing. Like I said before we started recording, I saw, you and I chatted, and I have a note over here, some sort of scribbling notes as you're
Uh-huh.
talking to ask more questions. But I think you had a YouTube video, right? That's about
Yes.
okay. And I think you posted it. We found each other on my platform.
Yes.
Okay.
I did. I did.
All right.
Uh-huh.
And I remember when I saw your story, I was just like, she's so bubbly. Like you just have good energy. It comes through, just so
Oh,
you
thank
know.
you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And then when I saw the other night, I was like looking on Facebook for something, and I'm not sure
Uh-huh.
how I made this connection, but I think I saw your name. Like I said, your name is different enough where I thought this got to be the same person.
Yes.
And then I saw the cafe thing, and I didn't dig deep into it, but I thought it was a very interesting concept where, you know, because I'm
It's
all about
amazing.
like the spiritual healing and things with good energy, and definitely, you know, taking care of yourself and things like this. So I kind of was clicking around really quickly. So I'm glad that it is connected to you so you can kind of get into it a little bit
It
more.
is. It's
So
amazing.
yeah, how long have they been around? Just kind of curious.
I think since I want to say January,
Okay.
but I am willing to be wrong, but it's fairly new.
Mhm.
Kennedy Morgan, it's his concept, it's his baby. He's
Okay.
built it, and I just, yeah, it to me, it's an amazing space and a great, just even the whole concept where whatever you believe in, you can come and learn about it.
Right.
If I think about it, I don't know of a place where, regardless of what your beliefs are, you can come and learn about it.
Okay.
There are books that if you want to come in and sit down, have your coffee, you can grab one of the books off the shelf and read. This is like, it's just everything there. It's just an amazing place.
Nice. I like that. I saw some photos. I'm gonna relook at it later on today just to figure it all out a little bit better, because I don't think, I'm pretty sure there's not a space like that here in San Miguel. We have a lot of things, but I feel like that definitely does not exist. But I think it's very interesting. Was I gonna ask you? So tell me what like your friends and family kind of feel about this kind of 2021. Serrita's like, I'm out. I love y'all. I don't know what happened, but I like Mexico. I'm leaving.
So I have always said I was moving, and you know how like you see those people that always say, "Yeah, I'm moving here. I'm gonna do this," and you look at them. So my family's kind of like, "Are you serious? You did it? You really did it?" Some of them think I'm kind of crazy because, again, it goes back to that conditioning. We've been told you're walking away from what?
Yeah.
If we put things into perspective. I'm sorry. The American dream that they tell you, I've done pretty well, and I would just leave it at that. And for what I believe in, I'm walking away from all of that. And I'm leaving all of that behind because I know that I built that once, I can build it again.
Exactly.
And so people don't understand, like, you're leaving what? Like, what are you going to do for money? I was making money before. I make jewelry. Like, I make
Let
jewelry.
me see. Can I see it? Oh, I like that. Did you use earrings for it? Earrings in a stone.
Those are court, yeah.
Oh, those
so
are nice.
I have talents, and I'm an artist. I have talents. There are a lot of times I find that I'm gonna say we dumb our talents down and push them back. And because of the busyness, we may not even get to explore what they are. Right. But in each of us, there's a lot of greatness just waiting to be discovered. And I'm at a place where art lives. Art is living here. True. I'm walking art. That's how I feel.
No, it's true.
So I'm getting ready to.
Especially being a person of color. I mean, that's interesting here, being outside of the US. It's interesting. I mean, exactly. It's not a free card or ticket to something, but it's that people definitely find you interesting and curious about where you're from and things like that. Our hair. I feel like our hair is always the topic of interest in certain places, definitely in Mexico, but I enjoy that aspect of living in Mexico in general. But I love the jewelry. I bought this last weekend, I think it was.
It's beautiful. Yeah. And I was looking at that. I noticed it when we got home.
Yeah, I was drawn to it. I like stuff like this too.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
Thank you. And it's common here. I mean, you'll see a lot of, these quartz, I guess they are, and stones around.
Looks like amethyst from here.
Amethyst
Looks
probably
like
is.
amethyst. Yeah.
Probably is.
Oh, agate. Is it
I think
flat?
it's agate. It is
Flat.
flat.
It's agate.
I think
Yeah,
it is. Yeah,
that's
I
what
think
it
that's what
is.
she said.
I see it, but yeah, it's agate. It's. I
Yeah,
see it clearer now.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I used to buy stuff like this in New York years ago. You know, I'd be like, oh, look at that. It's so cool. And here it's very common to see, you know, these beautiful stones and people
Uh-huh.
make jewelry out of them. So I think you will definitely fit right in that
Oh yeah.
regard.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So tell me, like, what was your process for just kind of deciding on, okay, I'm going to go ahead and apply for my visa? Was it difficult or not so difficult? Because I know everyone has different stories and challenges.
Now for me, I went through the Washington D.C. consulate, and the process took maybe I'm gonna say 3 weeks.
Okay.
It wasn't difficult once I provided the paperwork that they needed,
Mhm.
but they did, it was a few emails back and forth on me gathering, exactly what they were requesting. But once the day they pre approved me, and once I got there, I was like in and out in 25 minutes.
Oh, nice.
So I would say, what I had was my pay stubs, my bank statements, my retirement statement, copy of my passport, and I want to say my ID and the application is what I sent in. Now, questions back and forth, they had questions where they matched the pay stubs up to the bank statements in 1 month. If the bank statement is off from the pay stubs, that's what they were questioning me for. But I also own and operate a side business, so
Mhm.
I have money coming in from that. So it was
Right.
things like that, like
Mhm.
just, and
Consistencies.
yeah, yeah. Once that was straight, I didn't have any issues.
Mhm.
And on this side, I hired a service to help me called Gringo for Gringo. And
Okay.
that was amazing because literally all I did was show up and sign papers.
Yeah, I
They
did the
did
same.
everything else.
Yeah, and it's worth it because it takes the guesswork out of. I know you can do
Yes,
it. It's not hard,
yes,
but I feel like, you know, trying to make sure you understand everything in Spanish and you're
exactly.
sending in the right, you're
Yeah.
not missing anything. It's almost worth paying for that option. We did the same. You know, we hired someone on this side, but we went in and out. It sounds like the process changed just a tad
Mhm.
from when we were there. This was pre-COVID, where we didn't send things in. They just sort of sent us the list of requirements,
Mhm.
and then we had to show up for an appointment with
Okay.
everything. So it sounds like
And
you
then,
did you kind of like get everything together and send them a packet?
yeah, that exactly. And then they sent me an appointment once they reviewed the package and
Ah,
everything was in order. So they wouldn't send me an appointment until it was like one thing. Like,
wow.
and I kept saying, it's there, it's there.
Oh, wow. Oh,
But it was
wow.
now, that I look back at it, I'm happy that it was done that way so that I wouldn't have to keep going back and forth.
Right.
Like imagine me showing up and not having everything and having to keep making appointments.
That's a great point because that's
Yeah.
exactly what happened with us. We had
Yeah.
to go back and forth in the first attempts 3 times. And it
Yes.
felt like at each point there was one more piece of information that they
Exactly.
major that they just didn't say,
Yes.
we need da, 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 or it's
Yeah.
done this way. But
Mhm.
ours was a little bit different than just one person. It was kind of like,
Okay.
you know, we all have like different last names. So
Family.
it
Okay.
was like the
Oh yeah.
passport says this and my son's. So that was a little bit more challenging. And is
Oh
also the
yeah.
reason why on this end, we decided to hire someone as well. Because I know several people who did it themselves and they were like, it was easy, you know. But I think
Yeah.
that all depends on where you are. But I feel
That's
that
true.
hiring a service to do it for you sort
Mhm.
of puts the onus on them on whether or not they
Exactly.
do it fully or incorrect or
Exactly.
whatever. And yeah, what was the fee for the service, the Gringo, what was it
It
called?
was
Gringo.
like 250, about
Okay.
250
Okay.
US.
Okay.
Yeah. And
So people should know.
honestly, I would do it again. I had been hearing 200, so the
Mhm.
250 was kind of okay, but with the experience that I had, it was absolutely amazing.
Mhm.
Literally, all I did was show up. I didn't have any issues. Took, I think, gave my fingerprints and took my pictures, and then left. And then the next Friday, I came back and picked up my card, and it
Nice.
was the best. It was the best thing ever.
Yeah, it's easy. I mean, it was the same
Yeah.
here. I think it was around the same per person. And we did the same. We showed up, we signed, we gave them everything, we left. They called us and said, okay, fingerprints, we go, we did that, got our cards and left. And
That's right.
yeah, I
That's
didn't feel
right.
stressed in any way, like, oh my God,
Yeah.
what are they asking me to do?
Uh-huh.
So just saying that to people, because sometimes I think we try to save ourselves money and we create a lot of headaches.
That's true. Yeah.
And it's kind of
Yeah.
worth it. So what
Yeah.
was your house hunt process? Like, how did that go for you? Because I know you're kind of set up now to move back.
Now, I used two resources. One was a realtor that I knew, and the other one, people kept talking to me about this marketplace, and
Mhm.
oh, here they do marketplace, and I am, listen, I'm true to Virgo form. I'm structured, and I don't want no mess. So I know them people was like, is this lady serious? But I so I looked at about 4 places from the realtor, but um it wasn't quite something, just, if each place I didn't find that place that said yes to me.
Mhm.
So I ended up venturing out of curiosity on over to Marketplace and finding something that I wanted to look at. And I went to look at this one house, and just so happened the people who met me there they were realtors.
Mhm.
And they were like, I like the house, but I was like, I'll let you know. Um, and they were like, well, we have a couple of other places. If you have time, we can take you and show you. And I
Good.
was like, yeah. So I followed them to, and we looked at 3 properties that day. And the last property we looked at, as soon as I walked through the front door, I was like, yes.
You're like, this is it. Do not give it to anyone else. That will hurt you.
Yes, I was like, oh, this is it. This is absolutely it. I wanted, this is my house. It's a little further out. It's close to the airport. So I had hoped to be, because I like to walk to the beach like every day. It's a routine. But I was willing to compromise that because I really love the house. I love the energy that's in it. And it gives me also space to like set up my healing room and all of that.
Nice.
So that is, to me, that was something that was important. I have it at my home now, so I feel like I can't not have that.
Right. No, especially if that's where you're kind of, going down that path. So no, I love that. So you got signed, you found your place on Facebook Marketplace via a realtor who kind of, led you down the right path there, or found you something else. No, I think that things sound like they're just falling right into place for you.
It's like, I feel like the universe is saying yes.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm honest, as I remember, I told you I just signed the lease today. And as I was sitting there, they messed up my name on the lease. And I started having oh my God, what are you thinking? Are you serious?
You're like, wait a minute.
I had a moment like, wait a minute, are you really doing Serrita?
Your inner girl was trying to scare you.
Yes, trying to scare me. Then I was like, okay, calm down. Just calm down. You got this. You can do it. Go ahead and sign the line.
Right? Oh my goodness. So what did they require from you? Because everyone has a different experience in this regard also. What were your requirements to get, I guess, to sign your lease? Mine was completely different. I have a friend in Querétaro, hers recently completely different. I feel like that's also very inconsistent.
Yeah. So they wanted a proxy. That was the big thing for me because I wasn't used to that. Like, and I'm 47 years old. You want a what? For what?
You're young.
A proxy, or Or if you didn't have that, then they wanted you to pay first and last month's rent up front.
Okay.
They wanted proof of income and copies of our passport, copies of the
Okay.
passport.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So they're willing to hold it for you until you get back.
No, listen. August the 1st is the date. I
Oh,
don't want
okay.
no mess. I'm not coming back until November, but August the 1st,
Okay.
this is my house.
Gotcha. Okay. I don't know.
I
I
need
just heard
structure.
November and I thought you were going back and coming there and going to hold it for you because
I'm going back, but I
girl.
have my house here for now.
She's like, let it just sit. I'm good. I
Yes.
know where to come back to. Love it. Okay. So you are on board. You are fully
Yes.
onboarded. You've got your lease. There's no issues. You know, nothing to question. It's like keys.
Yes. Yes.
Good for you. Good for
Uh-huh.
you. Awesome. So what do you think about like the area? I know that it's not maybe as close to the beach as you wanted it to be, but like what are your like feelings about the neighborhood and the area, just so people can, you know, understand like Mexico's cool, you know?
Yeah. Initially, like the area I'm in now is Agua Azul, and it's a neighborhood. So my first time coming here, being amongst the people, like the dogs barking all night, the cats, they have their own show, and the chickens. Like my neighborhood used to be anything. The ice cream man going down the street, the water man, the Coca-Cola truck coming selling water off the
Yep.
truck. Like it's a real thriving neighborhood.
Right.
Now, this neighborhood I'm moving to is much quieter. It is the two times I've been there already is very peaceful, and
Mhm.
it's a lot of people around, but it seems like people kind of stay, you know, they stay to themselves.
Mhm.
So it's gonna be a different flavor. You know, now when I walk out of my house, the lady is always sitting across the street, and she always my Spanish, I'm learning Spanish. So she's always talking to me in Spanish, and somehow we managed to connect and
Mhm.
communicate.
Yes.
So that, you know, that's gonna be different. Now when I walk out, I don't see anybody. I see a bunch of grass and trees and
That's okay. I mean, you
yeah.
know, that's okay too. I think Puerto Vallarta has a lot of different neighborhoods and areas.
Yes.
If you go
Yes.
into like the historic district, it's kind of compact, you know, and it's
Yeah.
close to the beach. There's a lot going on. I know when we were there last year during like the high part of COVID, they still had, you know, like the liquor store was open. There were some bars and stores
Yeah.
and shops and things, but I was always kind of driving through. But then there's also another area that it's kind of behind, I call it behind the historic district, that is really hardcore locals because they had like all the little discount shops and every like
Yeah.
fish markets and all this stuff.
Uh-huh.
So it's a pretty thriving city, and
Yeah.
it has a
Yeah.
lot of like you said, different areas. You can be kind of, you know, outside of the hustle and the bustle. You get a little closer, and then there's the heart of
That's
it.
true.
Then there's the beach, but there's also
Yeah.
the marina across the street from the
Yes.
marina. I think there's a mall as well.
Yeah, there is. There is.
Yeah, or something like that. And then I remember going to Isla something. It's like a really
Yeah.
high-end shopping
Uh-huh.
center. So
Yeah.
Puerto Vallarta has a lot going on.
It has
I
something for everyone.
yeah,
It can be mild to wild depending on what you're looking for.
right. This is
And that's
true.
what I like about it is it's a lot of culture. It's some of the nicest people I have connected with here.
Mhm.
Um, I always say this a lot, but connecting with people here, a lot of times it feels like lifelong connections or family bonds are being made. I've made a couple of really, you know, in a short time span, really I've met some really great people
Mhm.
that I hope are a part of my story for the
I'm sure.
long run.
Right. I'm sure they will be.
So,
Mexico is cool that way. I can say that there's less of the rush through life
mm-hmm.
here, and there's more
Yes.
of I want to enjoy whatever, you know, I take in. It's a slower pace culturally in this regard. I'm not saying because they are hardworking, they are very
Oh yeah.
hardworking,
Oh yeah.
but they definitely have this cultural, you know, when I'm with my family, we can hang out all day, we can
That's
have
right.
dinner. They just take their
That's
time.
right.
The movement's a different
Yeah.
pace. I really enjoy that here. Sometimes it, for example, pre-COVID, we were constantly getting invited to kids' parties. And in the US, you know, normally like when I've done kids' parties, it's like 2 to 4. Okay. And happy birthday, give the cake, put the little hats on, blow some whistles,
And that's
sing a
it. Going
song, and then
on.
bye. Right.
Yeah.
Not here. It is a whole production. It's like 2 o'clock means we're telling you to, but we're actually just arriving and we're just setting it up. And at 6 o'clock, we're still setting it up, and the kids are like, ah, and there's so much candy. Literally, I've been to kids' parties that gone on till 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the night. So that just gives a gist of, you know, people take their time and there's no rush. And it's sort of like you come in whenever you want. So I'm an on-time person. You tell me 2 o'clock, I'm going to be there at 2 mostly. And I'm always too early. And I'm just sitting there like by the time 4 or 5 rolls around, and they're like jumping all around and they're like sugared up. I'm like, oh my God, when is this going to end? But I recognize that they really put a lot of effort into socializing, congregating, and you know, congregating is probably not just a happy word, but you know, they spend a lot of time doing these types of exchanges socially, and I do really like that. I mean, the kids love it. My son loves it. He loves this freedom he has to run around outside and play with his neighbors. Yeah, and it's, you know, there's trust there as well. You know, I mean, you don't forego everything in this regard as a parent, but for sure, you know, I had to kind of shed some of those beliefs that I had to be able to, you know, be in this different space with a different cultural norm of, okay, you know what, he can spend some time outside and learn a little independence the way we learned it, and not be like worried about, oh my God, you know, where are you going, whatever.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah, it really is. I'm very grateful for that. I did not have that. And not to say it doesn't exist at all. You know, I don't want to say it doesn't exist in the US. I think it just took me a while because in addition to the conditioning was Mexico's so dangerous, you know, and it is.
I
It
heard
really
that too.
is. It really is. You know, there are places where you cannot do this, but I think that the culture here does kind of have a lot of respect for children and moms, you know, in general, and women in general, and in general, because there are a lot of femicide type issues as well here, you know, where the laws are not very fair to, you know, violence against women and things like that.
That's true.
Yeah. So there are definitely those challenges, but yeah, I'm like so excited about your opportunity. I want to hear more about that.
I'm excited.
When are you going to start that?
To share the journey. So each Wednesday, so far what I've started is each Wednesday I lead a live sound bath meditation at 6:30 at the cafe, and it's free. All you need to do is just show up and come and just be wrapped in love.
Oh my God, I love it. What are your how long are those sessions? Is there
It's an hour. So it starts at 6:30 to 7:30. And it's, you know, a group. Like last week was the first weekend. About 15 ladies showed up, which for the first time, that was amazing.
Yes,
you know,
absolutely.
It was really amazing, and I was happy. So hopefully it will, you know, just grow, and you know, we will see. From
so
there,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying from there we will just see where we go.
Okay. Do they provide, because I think I saw one photo with a lot of the different size bowls.
That's my equipment.
That's yours?
Okay. Yeah, we drove to Mexico actually from Maryland. That's a whole nother story.
Okay, tell me that story, my friend. I want to hear it all. Like how long did it take you? How did you feel about crossing into the US? Like this, people want to know, because people ask me all the time, can I drive my car? I'm like, yeah, you can. It's just, you know, you can't keep it here. You have to Okay,
You
tell
wanna have,
me.
yeah.
Yes.
So, I had planned on flying, but it became really evident as because I wanted to bring my equipment and I use crystal sound bowls and they're really big and heavy. And I was, I started to realize that this is not going to work. So maybe we need to think of another plan. So my boyfriend was like, well, we can just drive. It's like, I'm not driving, like because of the fear and the things that I had heard.
Right.
Oh no, we can't possibly drive. I was upset. So he was like, I'm making a decision and we're driving. You plan on taking them this massage table, these bowls, all of this like, do you know how much this is gonna cost you to get on a plane? And are they even gonna take this stuff?
Exactly. Probably not.
So probably not. So I had to give up the I'm just gonna get on a plane and fly. And so we left Maryland on the 13th, and we drove from Maryland to Atlanta, and we spent the night in Atlanta. That was a very smooth drive. We pulled out at about 4 a.m. Then I want to say from Atlanta we drove to Texas.
Okay.
Yeah, so we left again at 3 a.m. and we drove to Texas.
That's a long day.
We drove to Houston. A very long day.
That's an extremely long day from Maryland.
Yeah, very long days. One of the things that I had prepared just like snacky stuff and I like the Arizona iced teas, the green tea. And I had about 5 of them and some snacks. Now, I didn't do like my mom and them used to do, cook some food or make some sandwiches. I didn't do any of that. So our mindset was, let's keep pushing. So we would spend like the longest day, I want to say, was it 12 hours from Atlanta to Houston? It was a long time though. And that was a day spent without eating. We stopped for gas. We drank the stuff that we had and we didn't eat and we kept pushing. So we didn't eat anything until we got there that night, which, now in hindsight, I would not do it that way. We pushed ourselves way, way too hard. The next morning when we woke up from Houston, that's where we crossed the border at Laredo. Okay. Now, I was driving, and meanwhile, I just want to say something to anybody who's watching this. We all hear stories, but I'm not going to say they aren't serious because things are happening, but I'm going to say you have to judge your own experience and allow yourself to not get trapped up in what people are saying, because that's what happened to me. Is we were driving and I was getting close to the Laredo border. Someone called and told us that we were going to get killed as soon as we crossed into Mexico. Like someone you knew, obviously. I was driving, and when I got to the border, I melted down completely to the point where I was driving. I had to pull over and he had to drive across. Okay. But I allowed that fear to take a place inside of me. And I know somebody that just came, like they had all of these stories, and it was someone that was close. And I hadn't paid it any mind. I laughed at it in the car. Like, oh my gosh, they're calling with this stuff. Why do people do that? And not realizing that I am internalizing this stuff. And then when we got there, I got really I was traumatized. I was shaking like a leaf. Right, right. Because you were right there. And it's like the timing and exactly. So what happened? So we went over to the border and we missed when you cross the border, when you're driving, you have to register your car. So they called that a tip. Right. It was $465 and all, and you get the 400 back. When you leave, you have to stop again and get your money back. Right. So just so happened when we were there, first of all, when we crossed the border, we missed the place and we ended up pulling on the side of the road or side of the street. And this just goes to speak to the beauty of the place here. This guy, walked up to the car and was like, hey, what's up? What's going on? What are y'all doing? And we were like, we're lost. We're trying to figure out what to do about the car. And he was like, oh, follow me, I'll show you. So he got in his car and drove us to the place.
Nice. Okay.
Now, and that was just amazing. Now, the next thing that happened is when we're inside, when we're registering stuff, I was at the table and this guy said, hey, are you guys going to get the escort? So I didn't know that they offer, I'm going to say every hour, but I'm not sure the frequency, but the police will actually drive you to the first toll booth.
Nice.
So you just get in the line and you follow close, and everybody, so
like
that
a caravan.
the caravan van, so that there will be a level of safety and everybody can feel, secure. So we got in this caravan. We didn't have any issues, any problems, and we drove straight through to Puerto Vallarta. Wow. We were never stopped. We were flagged at one toll booth to pull over, and my boyfriend wears these big like pyrite pieces, and it's wrapped in all this, like it's beautiful. He's a master wire wrapper, so
nice.
And when he pulled him over, I think he forgot what he pulled him over for, because he became mesmerized with this big pyrite piece and started asking about that. And then he was like, go ahead, man. And we stopped for gas. Oh, every time you see a gas station, I recommend that you stop.
Yes, because they are far and few between. So if you got a half a tank and you see a gas station, fill up. Just keep filling up every time you see one, because it's like miles and miles.
Yes, it's
and
miles and miles. And I didn't know that. Like I assumed that, oh, we'll be able to just get gas. We'll be able to get food. That's far and few in between too.
Yeah, especially the food.
Yeah, the food. No, those days were long. We weren't eating. Remember, those 5 hours on the teas was gone. Texas, we didn't have anything else by the time we started, and we never stopped to get anything. So then we're pushing our bodies like way past the limit. So we drove to a town called I want to say Agua Caliente or something like that.
Aguas Caliente.
Yeah, we drove there and we stayed overnight there. We ate, we rested, and then we got up the next morning and drove into Vallarta.
Nice.
It was a nice drive. Our air conditioning blew out on the way down.
That happened to me last year too. Got hotter and hotter.
Yeah. So that was the only incidents we had. I would say make sure that you have enough pesos, because we passed by a lot of booths, and I was not expecting that many. One of the things that I did was, I had read the blog, so I put money in different areas of the car. Right. Like I did put money at one place. So it was, just trying to take some safety precautions for myself. But it was a beautiful drive down. I would only want to do it once. I don't need to do it again, even though I'm probably going to have to, because I'm getting ready to drive back.
Car. Yes. Oh my gosh. You'll have to tell me about that when you do it. Yes. No, I think you're the first person, maybe not, but I feel like you're the first person that did a drive. Were they driving as well? I can't remember. I feel like there might have been another couple that I spoke to that may have driven down, maybe not. Anyway, I think that that's kind of really important information for people to know that, one, you can do it. Yes. Two, I love the information about the escort, because I think that there has been in the past, and I don't know if it's present, but I've heard different varying challenges people have had, or stories that were less than favorable about kind of crossing. And I've heard from another friend that was driving from California, there's another way you can go that's not the Laredo. It's like, it takes you a little out of the way, but apparently people are like, it was safer, whatever. I haven't done it, and I would do it, because there have been times I've considered, if I need some stuff, like really like hair products or whatever, I'm going
Yes.
to drive to Texas to get it and I'm coming back.
Yes. And coming back. Yeah.
Yeah, with my stuff in the car. So,
Uh-huh.
but I'm saying it from the standpoint that a lot of times people here are very willing to help you. And it's
Yes.
not, we get scared because if, like you said, you're already like this and you don't know what to
Yeah.
expect and whatever. But I wanted to elaborate just a tad on the permit for the vehicle. That's kind of because you're not allowed to bring your car into from the US plated vehicle into Mexico without this permit. And then
Yes.
the
You need
deposit
it.
it's $465 US, and you
Correct.
get, I think it's 400 of that back. Once you
Correct.
exit the country, you go back through the same channels.
Mm-hmm.
That's sort of a way for them to track that you're not still in the country with the
Yes.
car. And I
Yes.
think it's 6 months, correct? They give you
It now, because I'm a temporary resident, mine is now turned to the year. So
Okay.
when my car and my tip and my residency expires at the same time, and
Correct.
I can renew it. So the way that they explained this, next year I can renew for 1 up to 3 years. And whatever term I choose for the residency, the tip will also renew for, we will also do that for the same term.
Okay.
So, but then you can't keep it here.
Right, exactly. And some people do illegally most of the time. I'm not telling people to do this. They won't really bother you, but it could happen. Like if the federale police federales pull you over, it's a problem. They're going to probably put it in the pound. I know a lot of folks, what they'll do is go to like one of the bordering towns with Mexico and Texas, for example, or California, and they'll sell. I think they get pretty decent price, and then come back into Mexico and buy a car here, which is very easy to do. I've already kind of talked about that in the past, but it's not difficult. But I think that that's a great option if you do have things that you just are like, I want to get this there. I don't want to pay a shipping company. I thought about doing that, driving from Florida to here in our pickup. My husband had a pickup in Connecticut, and I was kind of like, you know what? I want to bring a few extra items, and we ended up bringing more than expected, but we didn't do that. But I would have done that too if I had things that were really important, because I think it would be hard to find nice sound bowls here. I don't really know.
That's true. Yeah, I actually broke one, and so I was looking for one. When I was practicing, I broke my heart chakra sound bowl, and I was looking for one, and the price I was quoted was really, really high. So I was like, just wait until I go home, because by chance I bought one before I came down here, an extra one, just because.
Good.
So the one that I broke, I just replaced it with the extra one that I had. So, yeah.
I love that. Well, I love this whole journey that you've had. And, I just think it's very inspiring. As I said, everyone has a different, unique experience. I think we all have epiphanies, but I think we additionally all have some kind of like-minded, thing where, or as Oprah used to say, a light bulb moment, or just something that you're just like, oh, wait, I've been doing this not quite the way I should, or I want to. And I think that this inspires folks to just take the chance, or look into it, plan it. Some people are a little looser about their planning. Some are kind of middle of the road. You and I are like,
This box.
Everything in my little box.
Because I don't know how many people will pay 2 months for a place and they're not going to even be here. No, I need my house when I get back. I need to know before I leave, it will be set up. Believe it or not, I have 6 days, and you better believe it's going to be fine.
Good for you. Good for you. I know I'm so there with you on that. When we came for a research trip.
Really?
Yes, we came for a research trip, and it wasn't even really a plan. We were looking at other places to move to. Mexico kept coming up, but when we got here, it was a part of just researching, not really like getting here. Yes, we like it, and we're packing up and moving in 6 months. It was more just like, okay, we're not able to do this trip, so let's use the credit and let's go, because we were supposed to go to Cuba for vacation just for a few days. We had the opportunity, and then like all the laws suddenly changed. My husband was concerned about flying in with his passport, and I have a Canadian, so I was kind of like, I can do my Canadian passport. So we decided to take that credit and come and check out San Miguel. I wanted him to check it out because I'd been here like years ago. And we got here day one. He wasn't feeling it. I immediately was like, this place is beautiful. I love it. And he was kind of like, I don't know, I'm not feeling it, blah, blah, blah. And I remember my heart sank a little that night, and I was like, okay, I said to him, you haven't seen anything yet. Like, we really haven't seen anything, because we arrived in the afternoon, we walked around a bit, and then we went back to our Airbnb, and it was crowded. There were fireworks going off. He was like, it's noisy. There's dogs barking. There's roosters clucking all day. And I said, but that's the joy of it. We're in Mexico. And he was just like, yeah, okay. So day two, lucky for me, our shuttle driver decided to come back. We asked him, can you give us a drive around, like a neighborhood tour, drive us around the neighborhoods, and we want to see what we can get for our money. Lucky for us and me, we got to this apartment. This was December 2017. We got to this apartment, and we looked at a bunch of other things, but we landed here after all these other conversations of places that were for sale. And we're like, I was like, I'm not trying to buy anything because I don't know if I'm going to like it. I need to try it on first. So when we got here, I remember the lady that was showing it to us, our driver and my husband, he walked in and he was just like, oh yeah, the pool, the this, the that. And I was the skeptical one because I wanted to make sure it was the right thing. So this didn't speak home immediately, because my head was we're researching, we're just researching, we're just looking, and let's see how it goes. And, I'm not going to jump into a house. And he's a little bit more like, it's an opportunity. What if this, what if that? So the fact that he got excited, and I was kind of looking around, and I was trying to like see it as my space, like, okay, well, where would I put this? Where would I do that? Where do I bring my stuff? Do they, do I like their things? Blah, blah, blah. Long story short, we left, we went to have drinks, and he's just like, we should come back in 30 days and da, da, da. And I was like, we're not doing that. I was like, I need to make a plan. I was like, we are not coming back in 30 days. If that house is for us, it will be for us. And if it's not, that's fine with me. I'll look for something else. I'll stay there. So I was all like, da, da, da. When it came down to we finally left, and we went back to Florida, and I said, you know what? I definitely want to leave. So we had the info for the lady that was property managing this space. I was like, so annoying, because I kept sending her messages. I was like, okay, can you tell the landlord that we will be there in a couple months? Do you think it'll still be available? I really like it. And I was literally considering paying them for February, March, April, May, and then moving in June. I was just like, because I was already living here in my head, right? So I know the feeling. I had already mapped it out. Like, I had a video. So luckily I was able to come back in February. It was still available. I said, can you please let me see it again? And I did a video. I took pictures really quick. So then I started really planning, like, okay, I need these curtains and I need that, whatever. So that's sort of my thing. I was definitely willing to hold it, because I did not know where I was going to put all my other stuff if I didn't know what house I was going to be in. And I didn't want to leave things in storage, and I didn't want to bring them here and put them in storage. So it kind of all worked out, but I know how you feel. We were willing to do that. My husband's like, I don't want to pay for are you going to go sooner? And I said, no, because my lease doesn't end in Florida until this date. but I don't want to
Exactly.
lose it now that you're all, you got me all excited about it. So,
Yeah.
but it did work out. For whatever reason, it was still empty, and they said they were going to hold it only till June. And I think
Mhm.
obviously if someone would have come and said, I want it, they would have given it to
Then
them.
they would have, yeah.
But it was meant to be, and we've been here ever since.
Amazing.
Yeah, we're going into our fourth
Amazing.
lease agreement.
Wow.
Yeah, I love it. It's comfortable. It's home,
I was getting ready to say that. It's home now.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
home. It's so home, home, home.
Yes.
But yeah, no, this is exciting. I'm so excited to just kind of catch up with you again. And, even on a personal
Yes.
level, I definitely
I
want to talk to
know.
you about your other career, your other
Uh-huh.
path, because I'm going to be doing
Yeah.
some retreats and things
Uh-huh.
here in San
Uh-huh.
Miguel. And I'm kind of looking for people that want to be a part of that. So I think what you're involved in is definitely up that alley. So we
Keep
should
me
speak a
posted. I
little
would
bit.
love to
Yeah,
talk with you more about it.
I
Yeah.
will. I
Yeah.
will. Well, thank you so much,
So much.
Sharita.
Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
I
I'm
will
so
keep you posted on
excited.
the journey,
Yes,
how it
please do.
unfolds.
Please
Yeah.
do. Winding down to November.
Yes.
That's awesome. I'm so
Oh my
happy for
goodness.
you.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there
Enjoy your.
anything else you want to share? I know that you have that. When we hang up, I'll get all of your details because I put it out there on
Mhm.
the description, about what you're
Okay.
doing, your website, if you have a Facebook page, whatever it is you want to put out there, your counseling. I
Okay.
want to know more about that. I wrote
Yeah.
it
I
down.
definitely will
I
send
am
it to you.
goddess.
Yeah. Yes, I am goddess.
Yes, I like that a
Yes.
lot. Your coaching, anything along those lines, we can share everything so people can
Well, I would just
contact you.
say the one thing that I would like to tell people, Mexico has gave me a new tagline for my company.
Yeah.
And it's I'm growing from fearful to fabulous. So just
I
follow
love it.
the journey.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Tell us about
Yes,
your YouTube channel. You have a YouTube channel. How can they find
yes,
you on there?
yes. My YouTube channel is I Am Goddess Coaching, but
Okay.
I also just started a channel called Global Explorers. My boyfriend and I manage it
Okay.
together. And we are documenting our our adventures around Mexico while we're
Okay.
here.
I love it.
And yeah, on IG you can find me at Coach Serrita.
At what?
Coach Serrita.
Oh, Coach Serrita. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm going to have you send it because I don't want to mess up
I will.
the
Yeah, I
spelling.
will.
But yeah, you all look out for her. I can
Thank
see the
you so
force
much.
coming, and I think that if you're in Puerto Vallarta for sure, and you need a little healing,
Yeah,
contact
come and see
Serrita.
me.
Come and
Contact me.
yeah, definitely visit
Or
the
I can come and
Mystic
see you.
Circle. Yes, please come and see me
Yeah.
as well, or come and see them in their space or wherever it is.
Yes.
I really like that, and I love that you have your stuff all ready to go. You're like
That's
on it.
right. I'm ready.
Good for you. Well, congratulations on
Thank you
your
so
move.
much.
Congratulations on everything that you've just kind of accomplished in this, what, 8 months? Moving. It's moving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
So
Love
this
it.
is amazing.
Thank you
Life is
so
it's
much.
gonna look different, but it's gonna be exciting and new and
Yes.
fun. And I'm here for
You'll have to fill me
it.
on what your guy thinks about this. He's like, what? Are we going where? What are we doing? I know
Yeah.
mine was resistant. And then finally he's like, oh, it's beautiful here. I like
At
it.
first he was,
Mhm.
and now he's on board. But at first he was kind of resistant. I'll go with you to support because he wasn't coming at first. I was coming by myself.
Oh.
And when when the transition happened, we ended up coming together. So he
Mhm.
was like, well, I'm just on vacation. I'm not living. No, I'm not living. I'm having fun.
Right, exactly.
Uh-huh.
Having fun on vacation in your new life.
Yes.
Enjoy
And I
it.
kept saying, we're living. Remember, we're supposed to be seeing if we can live here. He's looking at me like, Serrita.
Oh, I
No,
love it.
this
No,
is
it's yeah,
it.
exactly. I think
Yeah.
sometimes, when these kind of like do you want to come? Do you want, it's sort of, you're pulling the bandwagon and eventually other people will get on. And I'm not just talking about
Exactly.
him. I'm just even family. I mean,
And
people were the
yes.
same, like, oh, you're going to Mexico? Are you sure? And I said, I've been
Mhm.
in and out of Mexico for years.
Yes.
I've
Yes.
never had a negative experience. And I'm not saying they don't exist. I'm just saying like
Exactly.
mostly they've been positive. I've enjoyed myself. I appreciate so much about this country. And I
That's
love
right.
that it's so close to the US. If we have to go back,
Yes.
it's right there.
It's
And
right there.
yeah, and I just have always done my own little Rolling Stone thing anyway.
Yeah.
But when I got here to San Miguel, like my dad came, his wife, my mom came, my brother in Canada, my nephews came, my friends, they were just like one after the other, and everyone loved it. They were just kind of like, oh my God, it's so pretty there. I want to come back.
Support.
It was, and it was a nice thing because I felt that if I listened to all the naysaying, maybe I wouldn't have been here and they would have never experienced it either. So
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Pave the path. That's what I say.
Yes, yes. Wow.
Yeah. All right, Serrita, it was fabulous speaking with you. I so appreciate your time.
Thank you.
I appreciate you being here. And as I said, I'll make sure that everything you're doing and all your journeys in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico to Mexico are listed. And
thank you so much.
We will reconvene at a later date. I'm definitely going to get offline with you again, talk to you offline about the retreat stuff, because I definitely am looking for someone to help me facilitate some of them.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye. Thanks a lot.